Connecticut regarding a possible coronavirus vaccine. Joining us, one of our go-to folks. She's been on the show with us 3 times previous during the coronavirus pandemic here. Dr. Sarah Crawford from Southern Connecticut State University, biologist, virologist, to check in with us on this. Dr. Crawford, good to hear from you again. How are you?
Hi, Paul. It's great to talk to you again, and today is a day of hope.
Yeah, so what was your initial thought? Now, I know you've been following this much more deeper than the average person, or I have, but when you saw what Pfizer said, and you saw that 90% figure, what was your initial thought?
Well, I was initially very happy, and then as a scientist, I said, where's the data? So I dug a little bit deeper, and the study is very, very interesting. It is a phase 3 clinical trial, which means that the vaccine is being tested on humans, having shown safety in previous trials. And so what they did was they gave 44,000 people enrolled in this study. And half were given a placebo, which means it'll have no effect at all. And then half were given one of their test vaccines. And these vaccines are given in 2-week intervals, so that they had 2 doses of the vaccine, and then they waited to see who would get sick. And it turns out that a total of 94 individuals actually developed COVID-19. Now, this is a blinded study, meaning that the researchers don't know who received the actual vaccine and who received the placebo. So they had an independent outside group come in and take a look at the data as a checkpoint along the road of this study. And what they found, that of the 94 cases of COVID, 90% of them occurred in individuals who had not been vaccinated. Those who had received the placebo were 90% of the cases were found in that group. So it's a preliminary result, and it's a positive result. I think the greatest positivity is the number 90%. There are only 94 cases, and the endpoint is going to be when they reach 164 cases. So it's preliminary, but it's certainly promising.
Dr. Crawford, I hear from people all the time on shows like this, and even people that I talk to, and it's something that I understand a little bit better than them because I've done a lot of medical reporting. I have relatives who had worked and do work for drug companies, so I get it. But explain to the common person, Dr. Crawford, why, as opposed to years past, when people knew it would take sometimes years to develop widely effective and widely used vaccines, how was this done relatively quickly, starting in maybe February or March? How was that done so quickly?
Yes, well, it certainly seems almost miraculous that we have arrived to this point so quickly. However, it really is based on a legacy of molecular biology. The tools were in place. I mean, over many years, we've developed new ways of making vaccines, new ways of stimulating the immune system. There's been so much research in this area that to some extent, the research community and the pharmaceutical companies were prepared, if you will, poised to launch just a all-out effort to develop a vaccine. So we have the molecular biology tools. We just had to be sure that the vaccine is safe. We knew a lot about the virus because a lot of basic molecular biology was done on the virus right away as soon as it was identified in Wuhan. So we are really at a point where we are able to move forward much faster than we could have even 5 years ago.
Dr. Sarah Crawford is a guest. Dr. Crawford, please hang on. We'll be right back with you more on the discussion of so far so good, apparently, with the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. Remember, there are other companies working on theirs as well. More with Dr. Crawford straight ahead. First traffic and weather together right here on WICC.
WICC 600 Right Now Traffic.
Modern Plastics, Shelton, Connecticut is your place for plastic barriers that can be made to fit your school, restaurant, salon, retail store, office, and vehicle requirements. Modern Plastics has an array of adult and kids plastic face shields and specific plexiglass cleaner and microfiber cleaning cloths to protect all plastics. It's your source for plastic materials. Call Modern Plastics in Shelton, Connecticut at
decorations inside and out, like artificial trees to light up the living room, outside lights and playful inflatables to bring joy to the neighborhood. Order holiday decor online, and you'll even get free delivery. Holiday decorating improved with a wide assortment of holiday decor plus free online delivery from HomeDepot.com. How doers get more done. Live last.
What's happening in Connecticut's legal landscape? A look at the law and recent issues in the news that might affect you. Featuring attorney Kathleen Nastry.
The tort system, in more simple terms, is just the civil justice system. So when someone is wronged and there's no criminal remedy, you can find a remedy through the civil justice system. So people who are involved in car wrecks, people who have injuries from defective products, people who fall on slippery floors in the grocery store, those are all parts of the civil justice system. Consumer Product Safety Commission is supposed to be in charge of keeping unsafe products out of the stream of commerce, but they can't because they're understaffed and underfunded. So they rely on lawyers like me and my colleagues to figure out where defective products are out there, and which is why a strong civil justice system protects everyone.
Connecticut's legal landscape brought to you by Kopkoff and Feeder. Handling cases for people suffering life-altering injuries. Kopkoff and Feeder, because we care. Learn more at koskoff.com.
Got a smartphone? Get our app so you don't miss any of the conversation. Connecticut Today with Paul Pacelli continues on WICC 600.
And a few more minutes with Dr. Sarah Crawford from Southern Connecticut State University, virologist. We're talking about the news that came out earlier this week regarding the initial third test phase numbers from the test phase for the coronavirus vaccine, Pfizer, which has presence here in Connecticut. Dr. Crawford, I know you and I have talked about this before. It's one thing to successfully research this, get a working vaccine that does apply some level of protection here and immunity. It's another thing to get people to take it. And I am really dismayed at some of the stuff we hear about people who think they know how this works. And when I'm seeing 25, 30, 35% of people who say they have no intention of doing this, that's a problem.
Well, I think that it's a scary time. The disease is very frightening, and just the rapidity with which the vaccine has been processed and developed, leads one to think, how could this really work? How could this happen so quickly? And I think that sense of reservation is important and warranted, because we want to make sure that when a vaccine becomes available, that it actually does what it's supposed to do. And we're not there yet. I think that, people saying that this is a great day for science, we're all done. We're not. This is just the first step. It's a very promising and surprising step that 90% of the affected cases fell into the placebo group. But we don't know how sick the people were. We don't know if the people who got COVID who were actually vaccinated, were they people who had a very mild infection, or did they have more severe effects? I mean, we're not seeing any scientific information coming out of there. This is just a press release. So this is at its earliest stages. So we can't jump to conclusions at this point that this is the panacea that we're looking for. We have to be cautious. We have to be aware. We have to be informed. And I think the pharmaceutical companies are trying to do just that by giving us periodic updates as to the progress of the clinical trial, so that this whole fear that is somewhat pervasive because of the sudden onset of this horrendous pandemic, is mitigated to some degree by being transparent. But that being said, we haven't seen anything that's actually scientifically reported and peer-reviewed. So we don't really know what the details are. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
What also, Dr. Crawford, do you make of these reports now? You've probably seen these of a mutation here in this. I think that they detected in some mink.
Yes.
Mink farm, whatever. What was your thought on that?
Well, yeah, I was actually very concerned. This was reported out of Denmark very recently. And what they found was that they have large mink farms still there for the fur industry, and that 12 individuals developed COVID but actually this time caught it from the minks, the animals, who apparently were infected with COVID. Then the COVID suffered a mutation. Another mutation occurred in the virus, changing its spike protein, and now comes back into humans. So we're seeing a virus that is extremely flexible in terms of being able to infect multiple species and to jump around, change its genetic material, and that is somewhat concerning. And now they're trying to, monitor this very, very carefully. But I really think it speaks to the issue that, the way these animals are being handled is unnatural. They should be in the wild. And when you put large amounts of animals in a closed environment, and then you only have, human contact, which is much closer than it would be in a normal habitat, you sort of invite this sort of interaction at the molecular level of viruses and pathogens that might not otherwise be there. And I think as a world focus, we need to move away from these situations where we're allowing this virus, which is now part of our scape, our worldscape, to become more serious.
Dr. Crawford, thank you so much. Dr. Sarah Crawford from Southern Connecticut State University.
My pleasure.
Always great information. Doctor, thank you. We appreciate it. We'll talk down the line.
Very good. Thank you. Have a good day.